Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Gress and this is a retro replay of a game that I used to play when I was younger. The original game was called the Sentinel. If I remember correctly, it was on the Amigas and the Ataris and the old Spectrums back in the day in the early 80s. And then this was a remade version that came out in 1996 for the PlayStation 1. And this one is called Sentinel Returns. That's the original case for it. It's one of my favourite games that was out on the PS1. It is a little bit boring in what it is, but it's more of a sort of strategy based game in the way it's played, where basically you have to absorb trees to get energy to be able to build yourself higher up in this landscape, so you can take the Sentinel, who is basically the landowner, so to put it, who stands on top of a massive boulder. You have to basically take his throne, so you have to get yourself higher up to actually take him. These on the screen at the moment are the embryos of each of the landscapes. It's quite a creepy game. And the music on this game was done by John Carpenter, so it's really good eerie music when you listen to it being played in the background. This is running off the disc at the moment, so it should run and play the music as well, hopefully. But yeah, so let's get into this and show you what it's all about. This is one of these games I used to play, as I say, when I was a kid, when I used to have the original one on the Spectrum. And the graphics then, same sort of layout as this. It's like 3D landscapes with like 2D aspect to it in a way. Nothing changed between that one and the PlayStation version, apart from the fact the graphics were updated a lot more. And the atmosphere in it was a lot more creepy. But yeah, it's quite an interesting game to play. Just trying to remember what the buttons are. So as you can see, you just look around the landscape. Like, you got a tree there, so tree. That was not what I wanted to do. Trying to remember what each of the buttons does. So yeah. You got your buttons on here, which is square, if I remember correctly, it builds a boulder. Another square will build another boulder. Circle's a robot, yeah. And then X to transport into that character. And L1 is to absorb. So you basically absorb energy until you can. You can hear the Sentinel in the background actually turning around. You absorb energy until you can get up to the top level to see him. You might see the Sentinel from here if we're lucky. Yeah, the Sentinel's basically up there turning around and keeping an eye on the landscape. If he catches you, then basically you're screwed. You have to move across the map very quickly. And the easiest way to know if he's actually watching you is that when you're being looked at, or the area you're being looked at is you see like the robot that you build will turn into a boulder and then into a tree. Then he'll start absorbing energy out of them, and then they'll get retransported into trees on the other landscape parts. I hear him moving again. It's the first level, so it shouldn't be overly difficult, but there you go, you can see him up there now. That there's a Sentinel. Basically, he's keeping a watch over the landscape, and there we go. So that means he's actually watching that area now, so I need to be very careful which way he's turning. If he's turning this way, I need to move the other way very quickly. Let's see what he does. Yeah, there we go. I'm kind of screwed now. I need to boulder, robot. Then absorb them quick. So he's just basically caught me out there. I shouldn't really just sit there and watch, I should have moved, but I wanted to see where he was. See which way he's moving. So now I know which way he's moving on the landscape. I know that he only goes that way. He's moving clockwise. So that should give me a bit more of a chance of getting away from him next time. So 3 boulders and a robot, that should put me high enough now. But if I wanted to, I could actually absorb him. Yeah, so I'm on level terms with him now. So now all I need to do is absorb the trees in the background. Once I absorb the trees in the background, I'll try and get all the trees if I can. I don't think you get any bonuses really for getting all the trees, but the original game used to get forwarded through extra levels if you did. If I remember correctly, you got higher levels to skip through basically, the more trees you absorb. But yeah, this is one of these games that, it was a weird game at the time, but I used to love it as a kid. Just because it was like very simple in a way, but effective. Right, so it's not as easy playing this with a control pad as it was on the keyboard either. So let's see, we'll build up there. He's not over there now. And now I should be able to see anything that's around this side of the map. Any trees I can get to around here, like that. I'm up to one gold robot as well because you get basically the levels at the bottom of the screen. So 3 trees equals a robot, 2 trees equals a boulder. That's basically how your energy is planned out in this game. So if you were to plant a boulder down, that takes 2 of your energy. So it's all based on that sort of, when you're building stuff you have to be aware of what energy you've got at the bottom of the screen. Now I've got enough energy there to build as many bits and pieces on. Yeah. That's where I started off. I pressed the hyperspace button by accident, so let me just do this. He's not watching me yet, but he's getting more active. The bars at the bottom there, they've gone up to 4, so he knows that I'm there. He's followed me about. He's more active now, he knows I'm actually there. So get rid of them quickly before he sees me. I'm going to try and, hopefully I've got most of, if not all the trees. I can see no other trees. Right, he's looking at the moment, so is he looking there? Yeah, he's still looking there. Once he's turned around I can actually, there we go. Any more trees scattered around? There we go. That's the tree of energy that you should take up. So that is the Sentinel there. Very odd looking character. It's basically like sort of organic creatures in this. Organic sort of statuesque creatures. Yeah, just turn around like that. Once he's looking at you he starts absorbing energy, but now the Sentinel looks forward. All he needs to do now is that. And teleport into that, and then if I remember correctly, I press hyperspace to lift off from there. Job done. So that's the first level done. This is one of these games that I could probably play for about half an hour to an hour without any problems and just enjoy it because each map's slightly different technique to each one. You're trying to jump onto level 5. I don't know whether I want to just jump straight onto level 5 or whether I want to do the ones before it. 5 might be a bit more technical, so let's go for it. 5 might actually have a sentry in it as well. Sentries don't do as much damage, but they can teleport you across the map if I remember correctly. And then you get ones called meanies, which are basically a tree turns into a meanie, and then they can do a bit of damage and send you elsewhere. I think it's meanies who can send you elsewhere. I think it's just the sentries that tell the Sentinel where you are, and then the Sentinel speeds up to catch you. But yeah, the music in this game is really, really good, as John Carpenter's music would be. Yeah, so do that. That should be high enough now to be able to get out of any spot that I'm stuck in. I should be able to absorb most of the trees on this level, hopefully. in one respect, it is a slightly boring game for the simple fact that it's repetitive. But as games go, for its time, it was a clever puzzle sort of game because you have to be very careful about how you do things in this game. You can't just hyperspace across the map and expect to end up somewhere where you're right next to where he is, or you can't make a small boulder in a robot and expect to be able to get to the top of the map. You have to be careful where you put stuff, like this map here. If I put that there and then another boulder, I can see all the tops of this level now. Oh dear, that was a bad idea. So let's do that. He's going to start absorbing my energy now. Okay, that was an even worse idea. It puts you in panic as well, because when you hear that noise, you know that he's watching you. You need to be very, very quick to get yourself out of trouble. He's not done too much damage, but he's done enough to screw me over. I don't know which way he's looking at the moment. Oh, that's alright, he's moving the other way, so I can actually do this now. I can go here. I can build. That's high enough to screw you. I'm pretending to absorb him where he is, but I'm not going to. Be safe. Yeah, the Sentinel in this game is the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the size I can go because I'm at the same height level as the top of the Sentinel. Because you have a height limit on how high you can go based on how high the Sentinel is. Let's see. Any more trees? Nope, so I can move over here now. 1, 2, 3. Teleport. So there. But yeah, that thing's on 4 now at the bottom, so that means he's nearly found me. He's on 1, he's miles away from me, so you're fine. There, hopefully. I probably can't get. Oh no, I can get it. There you go. So now I've got that. I'm not letting you look at me because you're just an annoyance. Goodbye. Let's do all robots now. So that's that, and then I can now hyperspace away. So I'm now advanced up to landscape number 9. Also, the good thing with this game is you get quick at it after a bit of practice. It's figuring out which buttons do which, and then you can just it's like hotkeys in a way. Like, you know that there's a square button on the control pad for boulders. You've got the triangle for a tree, which is the shape of a tree anyway, which matches in. Then you've got circle for the robot, which basically means each of them you learn, you get quicker putting each one down at a certain time. So that's quite a level landscape, so that shouldn't be too difficult to do that on. Let's give it a try. So that's landscape number 9. But yeah, this was one of these games that when I played the original on the Spectrum, the music on it was just basically very limited. You had like when you had teleporting like the hyperspace across the map, or you did your teleport into a robot to get onto the next level up. You'd have like a sort of synthy sort of noise with a bit of hiss in the background because of the synthesizer that was used on the computer. But it made it really creepy. And then with this one, they pushed the boat out with the music, because you could use CD music by this point. So they got somebody in who could write proper creepy sort of film-like music, and used him to do the music. and it was a really good choice. John Carpenter, who used to like horror music films and stuff. The music in this game is really, really good. Very atmospheric for the game. Even if the game itself isn't something that most people would play, if you like sort of John Carpenter style of music, I'd recommend looking for a soundtrack online. Or you could just buy the game and just use it as a CD, because they were wrote on the game as CD tracks. I did used to put the CD in the PlayStation and just listen to it as a music CD. The music in this is really good. There's at least 1 or 2 tracks on it that I can have on repeat. Listen to at least 3 or 4 times. Don't miss one. There you go. Yeah, it's a really dark game in fact. It's set up with the landscapes. So, hopefully it's not there. No, so with all the boulders. Also, you have like weird planet things floating about in the background and stuff. Yeah, the whole feel of this game is sort of it's like an organic style landscape. Just yet. So I need to get that first. Also, the mouse cursor on here moves around separate, like with the analog stick. You use that to move it. If you hold the the LC button down, it moves it around as a whole, so it's better to control it that way. That's fine. That was a quick one. I'd say games after a little while it can get boring, but it's more the music that's in it. It's a relaxing sort of puzzle game in a way. It's more of a sort of strategy, a bit like chess in a way, but a simpler version. Where you've got to be careful which pieces you step on because you can get caught out, basically. Like chess, you have limited spaces to put the pieces without getting caught, like in check or checkmate. This is the same basis on this, is you have your enemies on certain pattern squares, shall we say, and if you go in the wrong area at the wrong time, you get caught out. Basically, you lose the game. Yeah, I'll do this one because this one's another one that's a nice level map, should be quite quick. I want to try and get up to one where you've got the sentries as well as Sentinel. Because the sentries add an extra sort of dimension, whereas you get half a flashing bar at the top. And once you've got that, they actually start tracking the Sentinel to follow you. Which isn't fun. You can do a lot of damage very quickly. There we go. This is one of the songs that I like. So, which way? There's trees up there, so if I go this way, boulder, 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 robot, 3 in a 1. That gives me a lot of height and I can get a lot of stuff very quickly from the start. So there's a bit of strategy to this game, depending on what energy you've got. Right, so I know all the trees are over there. Sentinel's there watching. Let's see which way he's moving so I can plan this one. Moving this way. He's moving that way, so that's fine. 2, 3. We'll blow up on them because I don't have enough energy. these trees. All that energy. This is a map full of trees. I don't know why it gets progressively louder than it shouldn't do, but now I'm over here I can get whatever's missing. So all I can do now is I pass them to here. I've been a bit picky this, but I like doing everything that's in the game, so I can teleport back to that one, and I can just do this. That's all my energy reserve back up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that'd be pretty sure I'm done with my height limit, I'm guessing. Right, so he knows I'm there now. That bar when it goes up to 4, it means he knows you're there and he moves a bit quicker. I think. I don't know, it's that long since I played this game, I can't figure out all properly. No platforms for me to stand on, so 2, 3. Oh, that's alright. So, he's gonna look at me in a second. There he is. Thank you. That one didn't go too bad actually, that was quite quick. As soon as I knew that he was behind me, I thought I'll wait until he turns around so you can actually see the face on him. But yeah, it's very creepy organic style character. So hopefully this one will have sentries because we're up to level 17. There's actually 650 levels in total, I believe. So I'm not going to be playing for all 650. No, it's just another single one, but I'll do this one and then I shall probably call it quits on this one. Can't be near enough half an hour's worth of gameplay on it. I'm still doing playthroughs and other PlayStation games, so I've got a list of games that I want to actually go through. But this one's, I've been meaning to do this for a long time. And since I started the channel, I wanted to do this game. And I've only just got it set up so I can actually play my CD games properly. So, yeah. So I'm going to risk it on that one by just doing that. As there's not many spaces you can actually build out of. One of the odd levels, it doesn't have many spaces you can build out of, but you can get somewhere very quickly. Like that. So I can build on top of here and then get higher up quickly. And now I should be able to see everything I need to get. I'll leave that one at the back over there till last. Can't get that one yet. Get that one too though. Get that one. back there, so let's see if we can get around the back. Basically on the tail now, so there should be one more tree to get rid of down here, and I think that is a bare landscape. Actually, that was quick. That was only a couple of minutes to get through that one. A bit surprised. Thought it was going to take a bit longer to get through that one then. But yeah, you can tell which maps you've done on this. 21. I think I've just 14, so you can tell the maps you've done. Because they're swollen up like that, it means they've been done. If I remember correctly, you get a different map, colour map setup. It comes back, yeah. So we've taken it, the map's gone lighter. There we go. Let's go all the way back up to level 21. Since that last one only took about 3 minutes to do, I'm hoping this one will have sentries in it. Or at least one sentry. If it's got one sentry, and I'm happy that'll. Has it got one? Don't think it has. No. Right, I'll do this one. This should take it to just over half an hour. And then I can end it at that because it's half an hour and it's about 6 maps done, so that should be about 5 or 6 maps done. That's plenty of maps for anyone. Well, it does take a little while because it's recording it basically off the disc. But yeah. So that's all of them. So let's see what this map holds for us. Nope, not going that way, so I'll go this way. good Joe move. And he put the tree right in front of the view so I could see it. Pull the trees there, so thank you very much. Absorbs from the energy back, so that's me done. I'll just check and looking let's have space. And that is that. So let's go into the drawer. And that's memory card. And save. Yes. Don't bother putting a name because I can't be bothered. And yeah, so that was a game called Sentinel Returns for the PlayStation 1, based on the original game called the Sentinel that was on the Spectrum, the Amiga, and all the computers of the 80s. This map here has actually got a sentry in it. As you can see, it's the one with the yellow head, just there. So I might play this again at some point and just go through a couple of maps with the sentry and the Sentinel as well. But yeah. I was going through them now. But yeah, so this game, you can still find it second-hand disc-wise. If you can find it on eBay, it's probably going to be around £5–10, something like that, or $10–15 if you live in America, if you can get it over there. If you like your sort of old-school games, it's definitely worth having a look at and getting. It's quite fun. That's the sentry there on the demo video, and yeah, hopefully you like watching this video of like an old game that I used to play on the Spectrum and then on the PlayStation when they redid it. That was a game called Sentinel Returns. My name is Gress, and I will see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Gress out.